Hey y'all, this is Cassandra with Pecan Porch Boutique, and this is the story of how I'm finally getting an opportunity to make over this cabinet in my shop. So the first picture that you saw is just how I bought it. I got it off of somebody. It's just a crude cabinet made from plywood, and not even the good plywood, y'all, the cheap, ugly plywood. So what I did was I threw some stain on it, and that's the way it's been for a long time. So let's see if I can do it a little bit better. All right, here we go. So I started out using DIY's beadboard in white because I knew I wanted to get that dark stain off of there. So here you see me just getting it on, just getting the white paint on there, going every kind of way. It was kind of hard to get into some of these divots and stuff in this plywood, so that's why I'm kind of going all different kinds of ways. I'm using DIY's multitasker brush because it holds a lot of paint. And this is what it looks like after just one coat. Still not pretty by any means, y'all, but it looks a lot better, I think, already. So at this point, I've already done 2 coats, and now I'm adding a 3rd coat because I want to use some of my leftover inlay from IOD, and this is the Melange inlay. So I'm just going to add some bits and pieces from this inlay here. This chicken that I'm putting on first is like second use. So one of the good things about the inlays is that you can actually use them more than once. So here you see me just putting paint on. So this would kind of be like my 3rd coat so that I can lay my inlay into it. And you want to make sure that your grid side is facing you. Just lay it in. I didn't bring my brayer. I didn't bring any saran wrap. So I'm going back to preschool and I'm just spraying it with water after I lay it into my paint and pressing it down with my hand. These little utensils that I'm putting along the side, they are also second use. But I found out really quick that when I'm putting paint down over this really rough, thick plywood, that I needed to put enough because the more I put down, the more it was soaking it up. So you can see here with this spoon, I could feel that I didn't have enough paint and it wasn't going to stick. So I just ripped it down, added some more paint, and put it back up. I know that some people are a little bit intimidated by the inlays, but the inlays are such a good way just to add something to your project that's not a transfer, not a stamp, but that's paint. So it just adds to your painted surface, and it just creates this unique look that you can't get with even a transfer or a stamp. So I really enjoyed laying the inlays down. Because it was warm in my shop, it didn't take long for the inlays to dry. And so to release your inlay, you can do a couple things. Here you see me spritzing it with water, but you can also just take a damp cloth and dampen it to release it. With the water, I'm trying not to spray too much because I don't want to reactivate the paint underneath. And once it's damp, I just start to peel it off. If you feel it tugging, that means you need to add a little bit more dampness to it. And actually, you know, for second use on these 3 little inlays here, they came out looking pretty darn good. So the ones I'm showing you actually have a lot of paint left on them, and I can reuse those again somewhere. But one of the things I did learn is when you're painting onto a crude surface such as this, make sure you put on enough paint, because as you can see, when I remove this bottom one, it didn't come out at all. So I had to redo it. So for up around the top of the cabinet, it's not finished out at all. So I'm going to use the IOD trim from the Reverie stamp just to give it a little bit of personality. So here I am stamping it up with my StazOn ink, and I think it came out kind of cute. So now it's time to add a little bit of whimsy, and I am going to be using the Cottage Lace Stencil by Vintage Retail Therapy by Mara. I love this stencil, y'all. I'm going to add onto the cabinet fronts with a little bit of watered down DIY's Gravel Road. Well, the paint in my hair proved I really enjoyed using that stencil. And now I decided to add a little bit of cording trim around the very edge of the cabinet with my hot glue gun. And here is the finished product, y'all. Still not beautiful and still kind of crude, but oh my gosh, what a difference those inlays, the stencil, the paint all made. When this came together, it looks so much better than it did initially. All the products that I used today can be found on my website at www.pecanporchboutique.com. Thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this as much as I did. And if you get a chance, please give me a thumbs up and maybe even subscribe to my channel. Bye you guys. Till next time.